Yo, what it be, what it do? Back with another book review. Today on Thumb Course, I gotta educate y'all on the book titled Frankenstein. Because lately, I've been hearing slander of what people are thinking of this book.
Skebler, what's your favorite part about Frankenstein?
As you can see, these folks don't know nothing about one of the most important pieces of Gothic literature. So I got no other option but to teach. Let's catch you up to speed with the happenings. There's this guy named Walton who's writing letters to his sis about how he's feeling all lonely and friendless, like a baby. While he's complaining and written, "Oh, Mr. Thug, is the guy complaining me?" "No, man, the guy I'm talking about's in a book." "Oh, okay. Wait, who was that Walter guy again? Because please, could you just shut up for once?" Anyway, while Walton's complaining in the written form, the ship picks up some guy in the Arctic half freezing to death. Turns out, some scientist named Frankenstein, and he's got a tragic story to tell. Frankie here had an amazing childhood with a loving father and a recently adopted cousin named Elizabeth. Mantles has a weird fascination with some ancient wizard stuff made by some people with some whack names. But once Frankie gets some of that real science, he wants to do something that no Albert Magnus could ever dream of: creating life. So this man works day and night until he finally gets what he wants. But as soon as that big green guy opens his eyes, Frankie runs away like a little baby and gets sick afterwards. Whack. Suddenly, while he's in that sad state of mind, his brother gets killed and he immediately thinks the monster did it. The spirit of his brother dying and subsequently a family friend getting tried and executed for that crime brings him to the mountain, hoping that the despair he has will disappear. But all of a sudden, his creation just starts running towards Frankie all medicine and stuff. And turns out this monster's more eloquent than Frankie. This monster makes Frankie listen to his tragic story before he runs away like a baby. He'll do that a lot, by the way. Now, I don't want to go into detail so as to make you cry, but Frankie's monster has been persecuted, alone, and tossed aside by the human species, leading him to become a bitter creature wanting nothing else but to cause a nightmare for the man who created him. However, the monster says that if Frankie just creates a female version of himself, one that won't act wild when he's looking at his ugly mug, then he'll leave Frankie to be. Frankie promises that he'll create her. However, while he's building this female creation, he starts going into baby mode, thinking that the baby was created by will cause a terror unforeseen by mankind, so he destroys the creation before he gave it life. The monster sees this and becomes rightfully furious, saying that he'll be at his wedding night. Then, surprise, surprise, Frankie runs like a baby, what follows is a cavalcade of unfortunate events for our pouty boy Frankie. His friend gets murdered. Surprise, surprise, he gets sick because of it, and then he gets falsely jailed for the murder and has to get bailed out by his dad. Then, they finally go ahead and get that wedding with his cousin Elizabeth, his father and Frankie himself desired for so long. Beats me, buddy. But right when they get married and Frankie is not being nearly as pouty as usual, the monster comes out of nowhere, actually acts on his promise, and kills Elizabeth. Now, instead of running like a baby, Frankie actually tries to kill his creation. And instead of getting sick, it's his dad who gets sick and croaks. Pretty tragic right there. Good on you, Frankie. You aren't as near as bad as you were. But now Frankie's been on a path of vengeance for his creation, destroying his life. Turns into a game of cat and mouse. A little too intense for my taste, though, because it ends up in the Arctic, where the story began. You remember William? If you said yeah, then you didn't, because his name's Walton. Now that he told his story, Frankie is somewhat at peace with his life. And entrusts in Walton and continuing his path of vengeance. A couple of days later, the monster just hops onto the ship to see his creator, and takes him to the ends of the earth, so that he can die with no one around to be harmed by his presence. Okay, let's analyze this stuff now. So, the question is, who really is the monster? Because by basing it solely on interactions with other humans, the monster clearly is the monster. Everywhere he goes, he's been confronted by disgust and ridicule, so much so that it transforms him from a simple, ignorant creature to someone hell-bent on revenge. Frankie, on the other hand, has had most of his problems due to his own selfishness. He played God but never bothered to understand the gravitas of what he's done. And instead of trying to make the best out of the situation, he ran away from his problems. His life was plagued by his fatal flaw at every turn, and yet he could never realize his downfall was not his creation, but himself. Nature also plays a big role in both of their lives. For the creation, it was the only thing that didn't seem something to run away from, something to hate. At some point, he confesses to Frankie that he'd rather never leave the forest than be cursed with the knowledge of his lack of place in the world. For Frankie as well, it gives him some solace. Like when he went to the mountains before he met his creation, he felt as if the anguish from those events prior were leaving him. But Frankie can be seen as someone who disobeyed their laws by creating life, and was doomed by the gods for being a modern Prometheus. Hope you guys took in that good learning. Peace. I got some nice bloopers for you too, guys. That was a blooper too. I got another. Okay, no more accent. I have another blooper. I have bloopers. Okay, enjoy. I want to fix it, cause I'm a lazy boy. That's why I'm doing this the day before. But all of a sudden, his creation. I'm like a black minister. His accent's so whack. But Frankie's monster has been persecuted, humiliated, and tossed aside by the human like the local zaga. Oh wait, I'm still recording? Wait. Nah.